Hello, good Vok, everyone. And now everybody is perky after Kabbalah Satira. We're brand new people, Baruch Hashem. So let us start with the next, the Baal Shem HaKadosh. The Choizer of Lublin, the Talmud of the Rebbe B'Melech, said, if a person will come to me and he said that he saw the Baal Shem Tov standing on a ladder and climbing up to Shemaim, while still alive in his body and in his clothes, I will believe him. Because everything that is said about the Baal Shem HaKadosh, is fit to be believed. The Baal Shem HaKadosh said anybody who speaks about Shivchei Tzadikim is as if he is dealing with Maisa Merkava. We know what Rabbeinu said, we're learning the story that Shevach Tzadikim, you actually awaken their koyach, and you're elevating the mind, putting goodness in the mind, just tremendous in Yonim. So the story of tonight is the Rav of Kilas Sdel Lavan was a big misnagid in Baal Shem HaKadosh. And he ordered the people of the town, if Baal Shem HaKadosh comes to town, they should not give him a room, a place to stay. So he came to them, and he had to go to a different place because they wouldn't give him any lodging. So one day, they asked the Rav, they asked him a shayla, and he passed in the pal, and then at night he saw that he passed incorrectly. Immediately, he sent a messenger to let that person who asked him for the psak, that he was mistaken. But it was already after Maisa, Lacha Maisa. We don't know what the psak was. It was kashrus, was neither. We don't know what the psak was. And he was stunned. He was petrified. Because he was a big Yeshemaim. And he became so perturbed. He was so disturbed by that he almost went insane. And the people of his household started, asking doctors what they can do, but there was no else from them. They heard that not far in the town of Mezhigorsk there's a person who is a baki in lechashim, in whispering, different kind of oral medication. By the way, there's the book of the Kehillah in Mezhibosh, Baal Shem Tov is available, and the Baal Shem Tov is listed there, and his profession is listed as a doctor, as a healer. So they went with the father to this mumcha, and they saw some people that they saw such a big Rav, to a whisperer, to a Rav, to a whisperer. And he says, wouldn't it be better that you took it to Baal Shem Tov? You're not far from Mezhibos. Why you're taking it to a whisperer was, some kind of a low life kind of a. So even though they were being misnaged to Baal Shem HaKadosh, as their father told them, but still they listened, Baal Shem HaKadosh, there's a way they went to Mezhibos. They already, on the way, they already saw that there was an improvement in the condition of the Rav. And when they came to town, he became totally normal. He came out of Baal Shem Tov with clear mind, like Yeshiva Das, like anyone. So the Baal Shem Tov opened up a sefer and showed him that he passed well, that there was no mistake there. It's only that being that the Rav told everyone in his town not to let him not to give him a place to stay. Yishemaim, they arrange it so that he'll have to come to the Baal Shem Tov. So the Belzer Rebbe, I don't know which one it was, said it was always, by me, it was always a wonder why the Baal Shem HaKadosh had the Goyish wagon driver, Alexei, that was his driver. Why? He says, now I found the reason. Because at the time the Neshama Baal Shem Tov went to the world, came down to the world, the Samach Mem tried everything that he could in his koyach, to prevent it from happening. This is because that Neshama will sway the entire Am Yisrael. Hashem, Bechira will be given. So they said that this particular Neshama must go down, but another neshama from the nations of the world will be connected, and that's the way it was. The neshama of the Baal Shem Tov went together, and connected this came the neshama of this wagon, let's say. Now the Baal Shem Tov saw the Ruach HaKodesh that this goy, when he will grow up, he will be really bad. He will be really bad and cause a lot of damage to Israel. And he did everything he could until he actually acquired him as a dentured slave, as it was. So, and the halacha is everything that the slave acquires, his Rebbe acquires, and with this, he actually subdued him so that he will not cause any bad to Am Yisrael. For mentioning the Baal Shem HaKadosh and his chusim, Motzei Shabbos. Okay, so here we are talking still about the Rav Eliyahu Mordechai Sharabi, the grandson of the Rashash HaKadosh. At that time, when he was the Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivas Bet El, sitting in the seat, being the Malamakam of his grandfather. So they used to get all the sustenance, all the food, the Rav and the Yeshiva from, as we said, I mentioned the Arizal, Rav Parchi, from Damascus. And there was a big like a grocery store. There was next to the yeshiva, and he would give each one of the rabbanim everything that he needed for the month, whatever, from whatever there was in the store. And also the rest of the things that that would not be found, didn't have in his store, he would buy and send them to their houses, so that the every chacham yeshiva didn't have to bother with the household and buying things and whatever it is. And at the end of each month, that store owner would turn to Rav Parchi, give him the bill for the entire month, and with the letter, and immediately he would send the needed amount to him. That's the way it was every month. Once, when the store owner sent a letter with the cheshbon to this gvir Parchi, and the time came that he had to get the money, didn't get it. Didn't get any kind of message. Why? I thought maybe it's a coincidence. So he continued the same kind of seder as before, and didn't tell the Rav, the Rosh Yeshiva, anything about it. Okay, so business people, they are, they realized some things like this. Next month was the same as the first month. No answer from the Gvir, from Rav Parchi. The third month, there's what can you do? So he already told the Rav, this is already 3 months, that and he actually told the Rav that he didn't get the money from the Gvir apparently for 3 months. He didn't get the money. So the Rosh Yeshiva, when he heard this, he told the store owner immediately. He told him, prepare a wagon with a driver and let's go to the Gvir in Damascus. And so he rented the animals, and he and the store owner and his servant, whatever it is. So he did what it is. They went to Damascus. When they came to Damascus, they went immediately to the house of Apach. I think it's a story that we already said, but this is a little bit different version. And they went to his house and they saw his family. They were, very, very in great sorrow and very worried. And they didn't accept him with the proper covet and everything. This is what happened. Where is Adon Pachi? Where is the Gvir? They told him he's in big trouble. He's sitting in jail because people faked some kind of a sting and by a minister in the government. And not only this, but they took him, they took his money, they confiscated everything. But the Rav heard it. He told his servant and the merchant to stay in the house of the Gvir. And immediately he went to the house of the minister. He went inside, and when the minister saw the Rav, Rosh Yeshiva, he was stunned by the glory of his face. He saw Mamasha, a column of fire, upon his head, and he became extremely scared. And he got up from his chair and he ran to him and accepted him with tremendous covet. There are many stories like that when Muslims saw, holy Rabbanim, that they went, they put themselves under with great chirdas covet. So Mr. says, what are you asking? What is the master asking from my slave? Just tell me. So he says, what I want from you is one thing: immediately release the Gvir Pachi from his jail, incarceration, and bringing back home together with everything, all his belongings. Because he's absolutely faithful, he is straight, and he's never done anything wrong. And anything that he's accused of is a blatant lie. And he says, and you should know that if you don't do what I told you to do, things are going to be very bad for you. So he said, everything that you say, I'm going to do this minute. Immediately commanded it, and they took the Gvir, they sent him home, all his money, all his belongings. And the Rav and the Gvir, were sent out with covered, and all the clerks in the government and all the Rishoyim over there, they became very scared, and he saw how the minister became like putty, before the Rosh Yeshivas Baal. And when the Rav came with the Gvir Pachi to his home, with Simcha, with Chedva, everybody gave Shevach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the big Yeshua. All the Jews were incredibly happy. So the Gvir told the Rav, listen, I have a great tsar that the Rav, had to be Matreach himself to come from Yerushalayim, to Damascus for this. So the Rav says, this is not a tirha, to save a ish chesed like you. You are mefarnes, the Chachma Yerushalayim for so long. And even though, the store owner doesn't have the wherewithal, to supply the Rabbanim. For 3 months, he did not get the monthly installment or whatever it is, and we didn't know what to do. So we came him, Shemaim, it was in order to save you. It says, now immediately the Gvir paid the store owner everything that was owed him for that 3 months. And he also prepaid him for the next 3 months. And they stayed Shabbos in the house of this Gvir. So after the Shabbos, the store owner saw, well, listen, now we have a decent amount of money in his hand. He thought maybe he'll buy some schuris from Damascus. You can always find schuris in Damascus at a better price than Yerushalayim, bring it to Yerushalayim. He figured he's going to make a nice profit, in Yerushalayim. He did so. And he went and he rented camels to go to Schora. So the camel owners told him, that the way, back to Yerushalayim from Damascus is very dangerous. And they will not go with him unless he accepts all the responsibility for the merchandise, for any kind of mishap. So there won't be any complaints for them. So the store owner, asked the Rav and asked him, is he going to come with them? So they will be protected from the robbers along the way. Because the store owner knew that if the Rosh Yeshiva will come together with him, there's no pachad, there's no fear from the robbers anymore. And the Rav said, sure. And so this owner, retained the camel owners and on his achrayas, and they went. The message, they come in the middle of the road. There was some kind of a resting place in the middle of the desert, and the Rosh Yeshiva made a special tent, for the Salayla, and in the middle of the night, robbers came. They took all the horses, all the camels, all the schurim. And there were 17 camels. They were all taken. Nobody could stop them. The owners of the camels were whining and mourning for the animals. The store owner was bemoaning the oldest car that he lost. And the voice was heard in the tent of the Rav. The Rav was there reading Tin Chatzois with great crying, was mourning on the Golos of the Shechina. He didn't feel anything. Only when he finished, he says, what is this? What is all this ruckus going on? So they told him everything was stolen, everything was so he says, don't worry about it. Just go to sleep in the morning, until the morning, and sleep well, long and well, everything will be fine. He says, what Hashem, in the morning we'll take care of it. And the store owner and the Misharas of the Rav, they knew the Kedusha of the Rav and, who he was, but the camel owners were Arabs. They were crying until the morning. In the morning, the Rav woke up, washed his hands, daven shachris, slowly, bekavana. After feeling he had shachris, so he did nothing, no change. But because of Muslim, he called the camel owners and told them to put together from the field around them stones, big ones and small ones, and to make like a circle, like a corral, as it were, big enough for 17 camels. And he said they should leave like a gate to come in. And they did it. And then the Rav stood by this place and started making Yichud Kodesh of practical Kabbalah. And immediately they saw the camels running one after the other. And they have upon them all the stars on top of them, all coming into this corral, on this circle. So when the Rav finished the Yichud, he asked, did all the camels come into the circle, or there's any missing? So the camel owner said there's one still missing. And so the Rav asked us, is the 17th camel carrying a lot of merchandise, or a little? So this message, I said, it's just a little bit of schar, not much. So the Rav says, since this is the case, it's not kedai to use a yichud for that, for such a small amount of schara, and the camel itself is a goyish geld. It's not belong to a Jew, so he started doing the yichud. And the Arab, the owner of the camel, started crying and screaming and begging. He says he's a poor person. His entire parnasa is from this camel. That he's like it's like they just have like a moving truck. This is his parnasa, and he cried he should rachmanas. So the Rav decided to acquiesce to like a shalom. Still, there's some schara on it. So he made another yichud, and they saw this 17th camel coming running with a small thing with schara, and they saw this, and everybody says, there's En Elokim Kelokei Israel, and they thanked the Rav about it was incredible, whatever it is that he has done. They all came to Yerushalayim, Simcha v'chedva. Everybody told the Mises of the Rav. It was a great Kiddush Hashem, and all the people of Yerushalayim, not just the Jews, but also the Arabs, they admired the Rav, they realized it was a Ish Elokim, and they were actually all were sustained throughout their lives, with the same kind of arrangement, and this Rabbi Kodesh Elaki, the grandson of the Baal Rashash, he passed away in Chafei Chodesh Kislev, Tafkuf Peizayin, Schus Etagen Aleinu, Val Kol Yisrael, V'zot Hashem. And now, B'ezras Hashem, we have a little bit of from the biography of Rabbeinu Arizal. If you recall, the last time that we were telling the story, we were dealing with the stalkos of the Rosh Yeshiva, the great false accusation, and what he did, they killed the boy, the goyish boy, and so this is what the story is after the ptira of the Rav. Rabbi Klonimus has passed away. So one family, after the ptira of the stalkos of Rav Klonimus, one family was very deeply affected because of the stalkos of the old Rav, and this was the Luria family, because his mother was very young, and it is Rabbi Klonimus that stood by her and supported them. It was like a father to them, and he listened. He did everything in order to better their situation even a little bit, and their pain for the loss of their father. When he passed away, they were like double Yisayim. And so her brother, Mordechai Francis in Egypt, was a wealthy man. He heard, about his sister and her, the troubles that she has and how difficult life is. He felt that time has come for him to take care of his family. So he sent people to take her and her family and, her and her children to his house and accepted them, with love, fed them, clothed them, and made sure that they had everything that they needed. He gave exhortation on the small children, should learn, but Shem should follow their father's footsteps. And for the first time, since the Luria family came to Egypt, to the house of the uncle, Mordechai Francis, made a big difference in their lives. The first time since the father, her husband, their father passed away, they found a solid financial backing and a family, feeling they were not just, floating in a stormy sea. And before this literal wunderkind, Rabbi Yitzchok, a great future has been opened to, a great gate was open to the future. Let Shem next week, we'll start talking about that. Let's get us into Sichos Haran for this week. And here we go. It's just very interesting about, last week we said that the day that he went to Uman half a year before Rabbeinu passed away, or Yizrechet to Madrega that no person has ever reached before. And this Baal Habais of the house that Rabbeinu stayed came into the house, and he found a special room that Rabbeinu had there. The Baal Habais had the Tfisas Yad. The Baal Habais came there, and he found Rabbeinu lying on the floor, with his hands and feet spread, like, begging Kadosh Baruch Hu to be Mekar of him. One of the most important thing about this particular story is the erudition of the simplicity with which Rabbeinu served the Kadosh Baruch Hu. A child, when he plays, he builds something out of sand. Okay, so there is the sand. There's some water. You make sand cakes, mud cakes. Maybe you make castles. Maybe you make castles. Whatever it is, this is what they do. When you grow up, you no longer play in sand. You study sand. You learn about sand. What kind of chemical, whatever it is, properties, and so forth and so on. The same thing exists in Avodas Hashem. When you're starting out, like a child is sand, and water is water. And when you build a nice house and it looks good, you're happy. The water comes and wash it off. Then you cry. It's simple. That kind of simplicity, that kind of childlike innocence in Avodas Hashem, come to Kadosh Baruch Hu and bemoaning, where am I? It's a very important nekuda that I want to say. I don't know if we'll be able to get to this, to proceed with this week's Sichos Haran, but the nekuda is too important to give up, without speaking to it. It's many times you speak to Rabbanim, and especially Litvish Rabbanim. They come and they say, they talk about Musar. You should learn Musar. You tell them, listen, there's Chizik, there's this, there's that, and they talk about Musar. And you say, it says, what's wrong with what's wrong with Musar? The Musar is very good. What's the problem with it? The answer, actually, there's some sheet as a whole that the Musar movement was an answer to the Hasidus, because the Lithuanian world learned that you can't just rest it on learning alone. They were very vulnerable to the Enlightenment movement, and the result thereof was Musar. Musar is very, very important, and every once in a while, a person should be given a good psak about where are you. The main difference between Musar and Isbodedus is that Musar, you are in the defendant booth. What's wrong with you? Why don't you learn? Why do you wake up late in the morning? Why are you davening like this? In other words, you are the one who is supposed to lift the load. The culprit is you. On the other hand, on his Beidudus, the Yetzer Hara is the defendant. You're coming to Kodesh Baruch Hu, says, I want to serve you. I want to do what is it you want me to do. I mean, and I can't wake up in the morning. I can't do what I want. I can't learn. I learn, and after a little while, my mind just leaves me and I go nuts. What's going on with that? It's a huge difference. Because when you have to carry the load again and again and again you're not right. Again, you didn't do it. Again, you don't change. And the thing is that we spoke about many times, you don't know how much you can actually improve. And you don't know how much a Kodesh Baruch Hu is expecting you to improve. You know none of this. All you know is, I should be learning, and I'm not learning. I should be davening, and I'm not davening. I should be making this vedus, and I'm not making this vedus. I should be giving tzedakah, and I'm not giving tzedakah, or whatever the case may be. I should be nice to people. I'm not nice to people. Whatever it is, but the point is that a person gets tired after a while of being the donkey that's supposed to carry everything, being the beast of burden that is never satisfying, is never able to carry the load. Enough. After all, he says, what do you want? Listen, there's nothing I can do about it. This is anyhow. I could never do it. I'm not able to do it now. I won't be able to do it. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. A person that doesn't actually say this, doesn't iterate it in words, but a person feels this, and he becomes despaired. How do you know the desperation? Because it's no longer his thing. He's looking for things to make him feel good about himself elsewhere. It could be business, it could be this, it could be that, it could be many different things. Now, what do you want what do you want me to do? You want me to just go around and feel like a loser to the end of my days? This is what I'm supposed to do. The answer is his Beidudus is the answer. You put the Yetzer Hara on the defensive mode. He's the one who's supposed to defend himself, not you. You can't go, I want to serve you. I really do. But I can't. Look at this. You know that I want. Why is he stopping me? And the thing is that then any time that you come forth, it's hopeful. It's a beginning. And the idea is what Rabbeinu is telling us, in this Sichos Haran that we read last week, come like a child. Come like a child. I'm trying to build this house of this castle from sand, and there comes the wave and washes it away. Every time I build it up, it washes it away. Do me a favor and help me out. Like a child. Don't be a chocham, don't be a grown-up, don't be sophisticated. This is prostic. That's what the Rabbeinu meant. He says, be a simple Jew. Be a simple Jew. Come, talk to Kodesh Baruch Hu, make a habit out of it every single day. Come to Kodesh Baruch Hu, speak to him a lot or a little, whatever it is that you can. Go ahead and ask. Go ahead and speak. Because Rabbeinu said that in a greatness that cannot be fathomed. That was a Sichos that was supposed to be tonight. Mitzvah Shem will do it next week. And the Avodas Hashem is as simple as a little child. That's the way we should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us all. We'll be zoiche to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'gashmias, b'ruchnias, b'simcha gdoila, and drop the mevinus, drop I realize now I'm doing this wrong, this wrong, this one. Stop. We're like a child. Tati, he's not letting me. Yetzer Hara is not letting me. I want to do it. I want to do it, but he's not letting me. And because of Rabbeinu B'ezrat Hashem, and all of the Tzadikim will be Zoche B'ezrat Hashem to have a wonderful week. Each and every one of you should be very wealthy and very healthy and very happy. The Gashmis, the Beruchnis should have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, all Tzadikim, Emes Lamido, Rabbeinu HaKodesh, have a good voch, B'ezrat Hashem. And see whoever it is will come next Monday, B'ezrat Hashem, for Sipurey Maisis.